Well, here we are at the zoo, the Assiniboine Park in Winnipeg, next to HMM. Thank you, Tezo 55, Earth Rock Spinner, Rock Earth Spinner, Ricardo DeMat, De Savant, Christopher Pepe, and Electric John, Cryptic 2222, Transition 21. Thank you to everybody who actually gets some sort of pleasure or pleasurable annoyance out of watching this. I will get a close-up here. Good evening. So, stream of consciousness, I came down here. I will put my first impression. When my first discovery, I realized this was who it is. Running out of battery here, but I just want to get my first impression. The rest I'll sadly do on iPhone once I come back. I could spot it from a mile away. I knew it. Great. We'll figure it out.
7, finally for Peterborough and the Kawarthas. The fog's expected to clear away there as well late tonight.
From the perspective that I noticed it, taking a natural sort of walk in, not knowing exactly where it would be, so I documented the first point of view of the new placement, or the placement of Marshall's young Mars over here. But then I realized that this camera didn't have batteries. But at least I brought the tripod, which is being held up by a twig on the other side of the tripod, because I don't have one of those octopus looking things, or I do, but I didn't bring it because I'm not one of those people. But it looks like this. Anyway, most of the time the video of this channel, and nothing scripted. Not that I need to do these disclaimers, but they are done now, so I'll continue. Taking a break from the regular kind of programming on McLuhan videos, I felt that this is about 2 weeks old now. I think it was put here September 27th at 4:30 p.m. And it's the last one, actually. I'll show you. There's nothing to the right of it. There's this great bench for Martha Fly, I think. Bertha May Fly. We'll forget you when pigs fly. From those who loved her. Marshall would obviously love that kind of stuff because it rhymes. I don't know if you know this, but he has 5 degrees in literature. A BA and an MA from Manitoba, and a BA, MA from Cambridge, after he had to do them over again because they were like, Manitoba, eh? Or probably said like, Manitoba, yeah. Or, you know, British people, everything ends in yeah. Jonathan Yeah from Nathan Barley.
You know you had the question mark added by Depot.
I'm actually working on a movie right now where the first AD from Nathan Barley is the first AD on the movie I'm working on. And I noticed he said yeah a lot at the end, question mark. It made me think of Jonathan Yeah, a character in Nathan Barley. And it turns out, no, yeah, he's the first AD. I'll fix the sound on this. Here's the fucking story, and I'll show screenshots, and I won't show the emails, their addresses, but basically it's like this. A nice fellow in Winnipeg named Howard Engel, I think is his last name, He loves McLuhan as much as I do. Maybe, well, he loves him more for different reasons. I love Marshall because he was a social misanthrope. He knew he had to help, and wasn't keen on it because what he knew most about, the effects of technology, he wasn't interested in that technology. As I've quoted him in the book, in the movie, saying, literally his voice, not my fucking opinion, but him saying, I'd much prefer the mildewed world of the 18th century book rather than the technology that I understand so well.
I have no desire to move into the world that I understand so well. And that's precisely why I do not wish to move into it, because I understand it. I much prefer the old mildewed world of the 18th century book.
Basically, I have that backwards because I'm dyslexic. And it's not a disclaimer. It's just like, I know people always seize on any opportunity to vomit out what they've taken in visually on the page or on the screen, which is an imitation of the page, which is an imitation of 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 something made visual. The acoustic, which is what I'm doing now, bumping into the visual, is where we get icons and words, letters, and all that fucking shit that there's a huge business for. Like making sure that you keep the placebo up, that there's an incorrect anything. For instance, this Starbucks says Justin on it. My name is Richard. Usually I'll say Dwight, but I'll never say my actual name. One time I said Dolphin. I never said Mark with a C, and they didn't spell it C-A-R-C, but that is funny. Let's go Brandon. More internet things. Anyways, so I said Dustin, they said Justin. Acoustic bumping into the visual all the time. You can't escape it. Americano misto, venti. Anyway. That's good. So Howard says, can you get a bus? We need to try to get McLuhan on the Real Estate Walk of Fame in the park. And at the time, there still hadn't been any acknowledgement of Marshall except for the University of Manitoba room in UMSU called Marshall McLuhan Hall, completely oblivious to the irony of that. Parenthetically, his mother's maiden name is Hall. There you go. And yes, most people know him from Annie Hall, which was also a relative on Elsie's side. Or it wasn't. But it's not exactly implausible if it was. I'm not going to check, but I've heard it mentioned, but I'm not going to find that. You'll just have to trust me. Don't be scared. Anyway, so we go there to the real estate people and show them a montage that I made. At first it was 10 minutes and I had to shorten it down to like 2 minutes or something like that. I'll upload that or highlight. It's everything that I'm talking about's already been uploaded, already been there. Just nobody watches anything because everybody's too busy looking out for themselves, which I understand, but you know, at least do it well. But I understand not doing it well too. Not on purpose, just because we're flawed at doing things well. Because it requires redundancy and everybody feels that they shouldn't have to repeat things, but you have to fucking constantly repeat things. That's the one thing I've noticed in life at this point in it. So the big thing there was that I came up with the phrase, which was used without attribution because people are either strategic, which is silly because it's like, why don't you just be honest? Or they're stupid, which is also silly because ultimately stupid is the ground for everything. Because even if you're strategic, but the strategy is for short-term gain, that's stupid. And honesty is the best policy. Truth always outs, and it always surfaces, it always comes up. So if you're familiar with the descent into the maelstrom, information overload, pattern recognition, survival mechanism, you'll realize that in the end, all you can do is articulately and eloquently and as gracefully as possible utter truth. Not because it's morally good. It's the best strategy. That's all. You can cope with it because you're already good with it, because it's real. Where is this going? How's it going? Am I recording? I don't fucking know. Hopefully, yes. I'll check. I'm not going to lose my train of thought. We're good. Fucking amazing. Okay. So in that real estate thing, for that meeting, I created this collage, which I will upload, but it had the phrase,
with the cool fire, citizens of the global village can be burned by television, even presidents and presidential advisors.
Yeah.
That's what they say.
the seer of the global village grew up in Osborne Village. That's my poetic contribution to this milieu, this effort, this campaign to have this be. So we didn't get it that year. Other than the phrase, the seer of the global village grew up in Osborne Village, the other great thing I got, and this is annoying because it's like either are people bad at research, lazy, or just simply stupid. Again, strategy or stupidity in a sphere of uncertainty. Constantly dealing with this. I found the episode from Laugh In.
Marshall McLuhan, what are you doing?
I think it would be fascinating to discover the genesis, the stages by which those buildings and that whole neighborhood came into existence. The huge smog of inky blackness that was settling over the mind of Europe, turning the whole of mankind into a dunce. When I was 6 years old, or 10 years old, or 12 years old, I would make these statements at the dinner table. I always had ways of seeing that have been unconventional. As a small child, was told at the dinner table over and over again by my father.
Incidentally, I purchased all 6 seasons of Laugh In. Haven't gone through them yet because I work. Mercifully, thankfully, and emphatically grateful that I do work. That circular McLuhan in Winnipeg, which I believe this is the graduation picture, but in my mind they should have. They used it was the same spirit of that thing that makes the poster for mine, which is a picture that Andrew had in his slideshow, I guess, in 2015. October 2015 is when I met Andrew and Eric, and then I interviewed Eric in February 2016 at the current location of the McLuhan Institute, Eric's library, and some of that is in the movie, and eventually I'll just have the time to turn that into something in between things and all things and as things are happening. So I found the Henry Gibson thing, put that in there to kind of show the real estate people that yes, he was Kardashian level famous in like 1967, 68, 69. And the seer of the global village group in Osborne Village, which again, super good. Really encapsulates the reality of it all. In my opinion, if you want to do what everybody doesn't do, which was and is, but not as much, because, you know, He grew up here. He became an adult here. He became a teenager here. I don't know, but since we're in the age of the child, you shouldn't discount the influence and importance of the formulation of a person during those years. And this person happened here in Winnipeg. I think for the time being, this is great. This is a second thing. Now we need a third thing. And it's not going to be no Marshall McLuhan way. Those street signs always look like shit. They look stupid. It should just be like a regular street sign. But I don't think that's going to happen. Ideally, if we were to do anything in Winnipeg, the third and final thing, acknowledging McLuhan and his connection to Winnipeg, it would be to rename Confusion Corner, which is formerly known as Osborne Junction, name it McLuhan Junction. Still call Osborne, but I think people can get it around their head to have it like, go down Osborne to McLuhan Junction, that's where you catch the bus. Because McLuhan Junction, Confusion Corner, is where Gertrude's school originally was, the school that thought Marshall couldn't handle the pressures of grade 7. He didn't fail. It wasn't because of his marks. It was because they felt he wasn't able to handle the pressure of grade 7. So his mother intervened, apparently, got him to grade 7. He has Mary Muir as a teacher at Earl Grey. Yeah, that's what gets him into his lifelong interest in literature, according to a Spanish. I've put all these things up there. I'm one person. Just trust what I say. I have nothing to gain from this other than the clarity of what's been written. And it's like, if this stuff is made up, it's pretty bizarrely specific. Mary Dale Muir, McGill University, came to Winnipeg, became a teacher at Earl Grey. If there's another Mary Muir that taught at Earl Grey at the time that Marshall would have gone there, that's a coincidence, and I forgive the oversight. But as far as I know, she was educated at McGill, middle name Dale, taught Marshall. I think she was a Ms. at the time, a young teacher. The educational symmetry is that, like, Herbert later on intervened on Marshall's behalf at university and kind of helped him get the scholarship to go to Cambridge. So both mother and father helped. And it was one of the few times, according to Terence Gordon, who wrote Escape into Understanding, that perhaps Elsie would have been proud of Herbert, Marshall's dad, who I identify with the most. It would have been one of the few times she actually thought he did a good job. Yeah. So they both helped at crucial times. Cosmic meta-narrative in the form of the rivers, in the form of Andrew telling me that he had a shipwreck in one of the books he put in, and it was the volume 1 and 2 of the Diary of Sam Pepys, social media of the day. He had a shipwreck at the mouth of the Red River. And if you go to the maps of the mouth of the Red River, there's 3 mouths, and above them is the Great Marsh. So it's like Herbert, Elsie, and Marshall, Great Marsh, and also his own little thing. Or the middle could be Morris, Marshall's brother. Winding up here. So one thing I said in emails was, if they do a bust of Marshall's head for the Real Estate Walk of Fame at Assiniboine Park all the time, and if we're going to do a statue, well, what's it going to look like? It can't look like McLuhan as he was in Toronto. It has to look like McLuhan like he lived in Winnipeg, which is the opening image of the guy in the woods looking pissed, or just like society's to blame for everything.
Because society's really to blame.
It's like he sounds like a typical teenager. It can't be the Marshall that everybody knows from like Annie Hall and all the subsequent pictures, even the far back one from Mechanical Bride that every single person thinks is the first picture. People like basically anybody in social media that's like contemporary figure in social media eventually comes to McLuhan, and they have always sourced that same thing, probably because the other person sourced the same thing. Nobody truly does research or thinks for themselves enough to actually be distinct. Which is fine. You can't expect what you can't expect. Just relax. So I said, if it's not young Mars from when he was here in the milieu that he was formed in, don't bother doing it. So I was very happy that they did it this way, and that's the end of this video. So thank you for watching, and hopefully it'll be up later on tonight. Happy Thanksgiving. I'll make sure not to forget any of this crap. It says, Citizens Hall of Fame, Herbert Marshall McLuhan, inducted in 2019, communications theorist, philosopher, and pioneer in the field of media studies. No one says professor of literature. No one says 5 degrees in literature. The sculptor's name is Madeleine Vrinon. Madeleine Vrinon. Spelt V-R-I-G-N-O-N. So I'm going to guess she's French. Sculptor Madeleine Vrinon. À demain. Anyway. A little less spooky now. That's our Mars. Graduation Mars. It appeared in the video as well when it was first at, what do you call it? It appeared first in the movie when they first revealed it at Elizabeth Dafoe Library. Thanks for watching. There's the twig.